All right guys, today we're checking out the Anycom DB1 mini electric dirt bike. All right, like I said, there's going to be a lot of mini electric dirt bikes coming into the channel, lots of reviews. Seems like 2026 is the year of these mini electric dirt bikes. Just on first glance, it is a really interesting and unique looking bike. Has a light carbon steel frame, basically a white, red, black colorway. This one is a little bit bigger than some of the other models that we're reviewing. First thing you'll notice are these knobby tires. So this is a 70-100 17-inch, and I believe it's the same size back here. And some of these other bikes, you have 14 in the front and then 12 in the rear. So this makes it a little bit bigger than a typical mini electric dirt bike. You got the moto style hydraulic disc brakes over here, really large rotor. You got the front suspension fork with 100 millimeters of travel, integrated front fender. It's kind of hard for me to tell what kind of controller this is. Maybe it's a far driver. I don't think so. I think the bolt pattern is a little bit different. You guys know what kind of controller this is, let me know. Maybe there's a way we can tune it. Let's actually turn the bike on. So we have the key ignition right there. All right, so you'll notice that the bike is in park mode. So the way to get out of park mode is you have to squeeze the brakes. So now we're in the active riding modes. Let's actually turn on the headlight. So headlight switch, pretty unique. Kind of has like a plastic mount where you would put a number plate. We actually did disable the left brake sensor just for preference. If you're learning how to wheelie, if you like to wheelie, having the brake sensor disengaged is actually really helpful. Up top, here's the reservoir for the hydraulic disc brake, DOT3 or DOT4 brake fluid, rubber grips, headlight controls, horn. And this is the left mounted color LCD display. You actually can't change the modes over here. The mode button is on the throttle. Click that and you could change the riding mode. So only 3 riding modes, very typical for these mini electric dirt bikes. You also have a full twist throttle. Riser handlebars, pretty big rise, so this should be decent for taller riders. You have a water bottle holder, interesting. And then you have some plastics over here covering the battery and then where the controller is hidden. This is actually a really interesting design. You can access the charging port over here, but to actually remove the battery, it's a bit of a process. So you have to kind of remove the plastics, and then there's a bracket that also holds it down, and you have to slide it out and unplug it. It took quite a while to actually install this thing, so it's not actually a quick release system. If you do plan on, storing this bike, make sure that it's in a place that doesn't get too cold, especially with winter coming up. It's gonna be really difficult to take it out and install it each time you ride. You got a saddle seat over here, which looks to be a standard Sur-Ron saddle seat, I'm pretty sure. I think it has a very similar bolt pattern at least. Pretty grippy, not bad. You have a primary belt drive over here. You have a plastic guard to cover that. When your feet are on the pegs, you don't want your leg or your foot to get trapped in here, so that's good. These are the pegs, standard pegs, and then the bracket is pretty low, kind of like lowers it down over here. Now there's a pedal kit that's included with this thing. I'll show you guys in a second what that looks like. The only time I've seen that before was on the Sur-Ron with our Kaniwaba pedal kit, so it's probably something similar. Back here we have the rear monoshock, and the shock is 35 millimeters of travel. You also have a preload adjustment. Now what's interesting is that the shock came mounted upside down, the rear fender on the saddle seat. A look at the moto style brakes in the rear. Got the adjustments over here for the axle. Here's a look at the rear taillight, and it does have brake functionality. When you squeeze the brakes, it gets brighter. Really large rear sprocket over here, and it looks to be 62 teeth. And then you also have a 420 chain. You also have some guards over here, plastic guards for the sprocket, and then for the chain over here. You also have this other chain ring, which, like I said, is for the pedal kit. So it's a really interesting design. You wanted to add pedals. So for the power, we have a 2000 watt peak mid-drive motor, and it looks like you can probably probably upgrade this thing pretty easily. I don't know why it says 48 volt, 400 watts, but yeah, supposedly it is a 2000 watt peak mid-drive motor. And then for the battery, we have a 48 volt, 28 amp hour battery. So not exactly sure what the total weight of this bike is. Couldn't find it on the website, but it is pretty heavy, so you're probably going to want some dedicated storage, like I said, a garage or a shed or something like that. All right, here's a look at the pedal kit that comes with the Anycom DB1. So you have standard pedals over here. Looks like you get a new chain ring, which I'm assuming probably maybe replaces this belt drive. I'm not 100% sure. The different pieces of hardware, you also get like a almost like a new bottom bracket. So this is the bottom bracket. Also has a pedal assist sensor, kind of a standard pedal assist sensor. I think this would actually function pretty well if you wanted to install pedals. It wouldn't just be kind of like a pedal system that doesn't actually propel the bike, since it has an electronic control. So yeah, maybe we'll do that in the next video. I don't think we're going to do it for this video. I think we want to do the first ride with the pegs and not pedals. So this is going to be a really involved process and not something that's like easily swappable back and forth. So just keep that in mind. But it is cool that they have this option. Now that we've gone over all the features of the Anycom DB1, let's take it out for its first ride.
So uphill speed test in 3, 2, 1. This is in the gear 3. Gets up to 20 miles an hour relatively quick. Struggling to make that mid-20s up the hill. Keeping about 22, 23. Let's see about the downhill. Downhill now, about 30. We're gonna blow through the stop sign if no one's there. No one's there. So about, 30-ish mile an hour. Not too bad. Back uphill again, maintaining them mid-20s. So once it makes it up to speed, it maintains speed very well, but if you're starting on an uphill slope, it's definitely not the quickest thing in the world. There you go, about 33. And I am absolutely frozen now. Okay, let's pull over and do it the other way. Downhill in 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, much quicker acceleration on that one. Up to 25 already. 28. Go uphill for a second, and then it's mostly downhill the rest of the course. Or I'm cold. Okay, 29, 30. Where we should see the top speed. I saw 34 for a split second. Gotta stop at the stop sign, unfortunately. Not too bad.
All right, guys, first ride with the Anycom DB1 mini electric dirt bike. Since there are 17-inch tires on it, I don't know. It's kind of like intermediate. I don't know. It's not quite mini, not quite full size. My inseam is about 30 inches. Can kind of flat foot the bike. Not bad. Suspension feels good. My stance feels good. I guess we'll get right into it. There's only 3 modes, so to actually get into the drive mode, you have to hit the brake sensor. And since we disconnected the left side, we only have the right side, so we hit the right side. And we'll start at power level 1. So, all right. So very responsive right off the line. The tune feels really good. Now it is limited, right? So this is pinning the throttle all the way down. And it looks like I got about 20 miles per hour on that run. But the throttle response feels really good. Even on power level 1. Very easy to maneuver, right? The tires aren't super wide, so it's really easy to kind of kind of turn. Yeah, that feels good. Let's do power level 2 now. Yep. Way more torque off the line. It does feel limited though. Once you hit that top end, it feels like it's something in the controller is just limiting it. But we are only on 48 volts, I believe. So one thing I did notice is that it feels like my foot is kind of rubbing up against the belt, the primary belt. Even though there is a guard on it, I think maybe the pegs are a little bit too close, but you can get used to it. I'm just kind of used to keeping my, my legs pretty close to the frame. So just keep that in mind. Very responsive. Do a little off-road. Yeah, I mean, really comfortable off-road, obviously, right? Suspension feels good. Fork feels good. We'll have Sully do a proper off-road test, but just going on the grass, yeah, obviously this is where this bike belongs. Okay, now we'll do power level 3. All right, a very smooth ramp up, even on power level 3. It isn't anything that'll really like knock you on your back, but once you get up to speed, it's pretty good. And we could test out the brakes here. Brakes feel good. Just for first impressions, it's not bad. I know it comes with a pedal kit, which we haven't installed yet, but I don't know how you would ride this thing with pedals. Even though it does work with the pedal assist, it's electronically controlled, so it's not just for show. But I don't know. It would feel kind of weird, but maybe we'll do it on the next video. If you guys really want to see us put pedals on this thing, just let us know and we'll do it. But I don't think that's what this bike is really meant for. Okay, so there's only so much I could do in this court. I guess we could, let's see, let's bump it up to, let's put it back to 2. Now just see how it balances. All right, the tune on the low end is a little bit, yeah, I don't know. It's a little much for me, but you could easily get used to it. Sully will show you how to wheelie this thing. He's the wheelie master. He could wheelie any bike. Me? I don't know. I could do just about that. All right. Let's talk about it.
All right, so quick little test with the Anycom here. We're just gonna try and do some wheelies on it. I know I probably won't be able to do much because it doesn't really have enough power once you're moving to really pop it up without a lot of force lifting up, but I'll give it what I got and see how it works out. So that was like pretty much floored to get it up there. And the tune is really touchy down low, unless you stay on the throttle. Like if you let off and then hit the throttle again, it gives it like inconsistent power, but it's manageable nonetheless. The brakes feel amazing on this thing. Like actually they feel really good. Let's just try a knee knock. That's like flooring it in gear 3 and it's hardly picking it up. I just need more space. Yeah, so I mean it's doable. It's just it's not a very powerful bike overall, but it's got a lot of suspension, so it's able to pick it up. It's just it's not as easy as you'd want it to be. From a dead stop though, it definitely has plenty of power. But yeah, I really wish there was a way to tune it, because if you could tune this thing, game over. I mean, you can make it a lot better and a lot smoother for the wheelies and whatnot. Even just riding in general, I noticed like when I was doing the top speed test, the throttle's a little weird. It almost like when you let off after going full throttle, it almost feels like it's downshifting. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know if it's just regen or whatever it is. It's a rugged bike. It feels really good. The brakes are good, like really good for what you use them for, .3.4 moto brakes. It'd probably be fairly easy to convert this to a chain primary and run a Razor style motor. You just need to probably figure out some type of mounting. So depending on what you want to use it for, I mean, you could use it for off-road or street. I would say if you're going to ride it more on the street, definitely swap out these tires because they wear really fast on the street.
So let's recap the specs. The Anycom DB1 is built on a light carbon steel frame and comes equipped with a front headlight, tail light, and front and rear fenders. It uses a left-mounted color display to show ride data, and you can switch between 3 power modes depending on how you want to ride. Stopping power comes from moto style, hydraulic disc brakes, and the saddle seat gives it a familiar dirt bike feel. There's even a water bottle holder for longer rides. The DB1 runs a 2,000 watt peak mid-drive motor paired with a 48 volt, 28 amp hour battery. It uses a primary belt drive and secondary chain drive, which gives it strong low-end power. Top speed comes in around 35 miles per hour, and Anycom claims around 60 miles of range depending on terrain, rider weight, and power mode. A 100mm front suspension fork, 35mm rear shock, and 17-inch CST off-road tires are ideal for rough terrain. There's also an optional pedal kit, making it flexible for different riding styles.
The grass is a little wet today, so I'm gonna have to take it a little easier than I normally do, because it is a little slick. Let's floor it up the hill. Okay, you know what, made it. I mean, that's a relatively steep hill. Yeah, I can already feel the tires slipping out a little bit in the grass here. Definitely. Oh, Jesus. The drone almost killed me. But yeah, it's definitely slick. The tires are, you know, they're grippy. I definitely need some more air in the rear. I lowered it to do wheelies, so I'm definitely feeling that off-road right now. It feels a little low on pressure, but just normal riding, I mean, it feels relatively good. You know, flooring it through these turns, though, it definitely feels very underpowered, but the suspension and the brakes are there. So that's good. So let's take it off-road over here, flooring it up this hill. You know, maintaining a decent speed, but you can definitely hear the motor bog down once you hit the steep part. So let's try the steep hill. This is the biggest hill climb that we really have around here. Definitely gonna need a run up on this one, but let's give it a go. 3, 2, floored. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it surprised me. I really didn't think I had it in it, but it must be geared low enough to make it up some pretty steep grades, just not quickly. It definitely didn't do that fast or spinning the tire, but it made it nonetheless.
All right, first impressions with the Anycom DB1. I like it. It's a very unique design. It's a lot different than some of the other electric mini bikes we've tried. I mean, the biggest difference is it comes with 17-inch wheels. So it kind of puts it in the not quite mini, but not quite full size. So just something to think about. If you're riding this off-road, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. On the street, I think it might be just a little too limited to keep up with traffic, right? I mean, depending on where you live, it's probably not even street legal. It's a 48 volt system. The tune is, you know, pretty conservative, so you're only going to be pushing between like 30 to 35 miles per hour. It is kind of heavy too, so just keep that in mind if you wanted to transport this around like on a vehicle, or if you have to carry it upstairs, God forbid, that might be kind of tough. A few nitpicks. I think the battery design is good. I think it really maxes out how much capacity you could get in this frame, but just mounting it and dismounting it is kind of a pain, right? It's not a easy, quick removal system. As we go into the winter and people bring their batteries inside, it's going to be a little bit tricky. And then just sort of the foot position, you know, where the pegs are located, I find myself kind of rubbing against the guard over here for the secondary chain, as well as the primary belt. You know, it has guards, so you know that you're touching it. I think maybe if the pegs were angled a little bit closer towards here, it would have been more ideal. This bike can definitely be modded for sure. I think you can easily swap out this motor if you wanted to, as well as the shock and, you know, handlebars. Like, there's a lot of stuff that would be really easy to mod. 98% sure this is a Sur-on seat, so you could get this thing rewrapped if you wanted to. If you are into wheelies and learning how to stunt, it's a pretty cool bike, although I'm not quite sure they're using a far driver controller. So if you were to really stunt this, I wish there was a way to get into the controller to just change the tune. But if you're experienced, you could probably easily figure it out. Again, if you want us to put the pedal kit on just to see what it looks like, let us know. Anyway, that is our first impressions with the Anycom DB1.
So here's what we like. The Anycom DB1 has plenty of punch off the line, making it easy to wheelie. The suspension setup keeps the ride smooth and comfortable, and the included pedal kit is also a nice touch, giving riders the option to set it up for street use. But here are some things to consider. The 48-volt system might feel underpowered for experienced riders. The battery access can be a little too complicated, and taller riders may find the frame small and cramped. So what do you think of the Anycom DB1 mini electric dirt bike? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.